We're now going to look at how to differentiate products of functions. That's the product rule. We've looked so far at how to differentiate functions of functions. That was the chain rule, but it's now going to be when we've got one function multiplied by another. Let's take a look at how to do it. All right, so let's begin by thinking about what we mean by the product of two functions. What we mean is when y is some function f of x multiplied by some other function g of x. For example, y equals x squared multiplied by cos x would be an example where we've got f of x here and g of x here. Now, we're actually not going to use f of x and g of x notation. We can, but we're just going to use a shorthand, and this is just going to make life a little bit easier. In fact, what I'm going to do is when we've got a product of two functions, I'll just refer to the first function as u and the second function as v. So it's just simply a bit quicker to write down u and v rather than f of x and g of x. So in this example, there's your u and there's your v. So naively, we might think that to differentiate the products of two functions, it's just differentiate that and differentiate that. Thing is, you know that that doesn't work, right? Just consider a really simple case like y equals x multiplied by x. I mean, you know that that's just x squared, and therefore you know that the derivative of that is 2x. The answer is definitely not to differentiate the x to 1 and the other x to 1 and get 1. Right? That's definitely wrong, and that's right. So the procedure is this, and it's useful to think about it as a procedure rather than a formula, really. It's this, it's do differentiate the first one, but not the second, and then add on what you get when you don't differentiate the first one, but you do differentiate the second one. Okay, so you'll sometimes see it written in f of x and g of x notation as the derivative is do differentiate the first one, but don't differentiate the second, plus what you get when you don't differentiate the first, but you do differentiate the second. It's just a lot more writing to write this down, which is why I go for the u's and the v's. Let's have a look at a bunch of examples. So here's our rule. Our rule is if y equals u times v, then the derivative is differentiate the first, but not the second. Don't differentiate the first, do differentiate the second. So here's my u and here's my v. Now, in the first couple of examples, or maybe in example 1 and 3, I'm going to write this out in full detail, but the more you practice this, the more you won't do it. You won't write everything out. So if I write it out in full detail, I'd say, well, look, my u is just x, and my v is sine x. And that means that the derivative of u is 1, and the derivative of v is cos x. And now I can just apply my formula in one go. The derivative is u dash v. So u dash times v is just sine x. And then it's u times v dash, so x times cos x. So there is the derivative of x sine x. I'm going to work through this one without using writing down every single u and v like that, to just show you that we can just sort of go through it as a procedure. And that procedure is do differentiate the first one, don't differentiate the second one. Plus, don't differentiate the first one, do differentiate the second. It just so happens that the derivative of e to the x is e to the x. This is actually quite a nice one to factorise, because I could pull out x e to the x, and I'm left with 2 plus x here. Okay, example 3 is quite a complicated one, so it actually can be really helpful to write out your u's and your v's if it looks complicated. So my first function is x. My second function is ln of x squared plus 4. Well, derivative of u is pretty easy, it's just 1. But the derivative of v, well, we're going to have to use the chain rule, right? This is ln of some stuff. Luckily, we know how to do that. The derivative of ln of some stuff is the derivative of that stuff divided by that stuff. So now I can use my formula and just drop everything in. So it's u dash v, so that's ln of x squared plus 4, plus u times v dash, so x multiplied by this. And if I do that, I get, well, if I multiply that by x, I just get 2x squared over x squared plus 4. So that's the product rule, that's how we use it. Let's apply it to a few more exam style questions. Okay, so f of x is x squared e to the negative 4x minus 3. Can we find the coordinates of the turning points of f of x? So let's differentiate it and set it equal to 0. So the derivative is, well, let's think our way through this. Here's my first function, here's my second. So differentiate the first, but not the second. Now we're going to add on, differentiate the first, no, sorry, don't differentiate the first, but do differentiate the second, which is minus 4 e to the minus 4x. So that's the chain rule applied to that exponential. Differentiate the negative 3, we just get 0. So what have we got? If I neaten things up, I've got 2x e to the minus 4x minus 4x squared e to the minus 4x. And I want to figure out when is that equal to 0. Best way to solve this is fully factorize this. So I can pull out a 2 and an x and an e to the negative 4x. Okay, that's a factor of both. Obviously it's just that times 1 for this first one, and for the second part here it's just 2x. Okay, so I've got products of three things here: 2x, e to the negative 4x, and 1 minus 2x. So the turning points happen when any of these things are 0. So when 2x equals 0, obviously x is 0. E to the negative 4x equals 0, there's no solutions to that because the exponential function is never equal to 0. And when 1 minus 2x is 0, that's when x is a half. So we've got two x values that make the derivative 0, so we just need to sub those in to find the y coordinates. So when x equals 0, what have we got? Well, I've got y is just 0, isn't it? Because y is 0, it's not the 0, it's 0 squared, so all of this stuff is 0 minus 3, so y is minus 3. A little bit more fiddly here. When x is a half, y is, well, it's a half squared, which is 1/4, and then it's e to the minus 4 times x, so that's e to the minus 4 times a half is minus 2, and then minus 3. So neatened up, that is, well, not really neatened up, it's just 1/4 e to the minus 2 minus 3. So my coordinates are 0, minus 3, and 1/2, 1/4 e to the minus 2 minus 3. So we found the coordinates of the turning points of a function that was a product of two other functions, minus 3. All right, next question. Can we find the coordinates of the turning point for this one? Okay, so easiest to write this out in indices form. So that's x multiplied by x plus 2 to the half. So I'm going to write out my u's and v's here, just so I don't miss anything. So u is x, which means u dash is 1. And v is x plus 2 to the half, which means that v dash is a half x plus 2 to the minus a half. Now, strictly speaking, I've just used the chain rule there because it's some stuff to the power of n. So power came down to the front and dropped by 1. Then I multiplied by the derivative of this stuff. It's just the derivative of the stuff in this case was just 1. All right, so we've got dy by dx equals, well, it's u dash v, so that's just 1 times x plus 2 to the half, plus u times v dash, which is, well, it's this times this, so that's half x, and then x plus 2 to the minus half, and this is what I need to be 0. Okay, these are actually really difficult to solve, but we can do it. Here's how. When you've got these awkward, like same bracket, but with weird indices, pull out a factor of the smallest power. So I'm going to factorize out x plus 2 to the minus half. I'm going to open some really big brackets there. So what do I need to multiply x plus 2 to the minus half by to get x plus 2 to the half? Well, it's x plus 2 to the power of 1, because the powers added together, 1 plus negative half equals a half. And now for this bit, it's a bit easier because I've just got x plus 2 to the minus half here, so it's just half x that goes here. So that's it fully, well, it's not fully factorised, but I've factorised out the awkward bracket. So what have I got here? Well, I've got x plus 2 to the negative a half, and inside the bracket here I've got x plus 2 to the 1, that's just x plus 2, plus half x. So x plus half x is 3 over 2x, and then plus 2, and all of that equals 0. So what's the solution to this? Well, it's either this bit equals 0 or this bit equals 0. Careful though, x plus 2 to the negative a half is 1 over the square root of x plus 2. That can never equal 0, right? Because a fraction is only 0 and the numerator is 0, and the numerator is 1. It's never 0. So we get no solutions from that part. Okay, but this bracket I do get solutions, because then I have 3 over 2x needs to equal minus 2, and that means that x is minus 4 thirds. Now we want the coordinates, so I just need to sub that in. So sub that into my original equation. So I get negative 4 thirds multiplied by, and then it's the square root of minus 4 thirds plus 2, which is just 2 thirds. So it's minus 4 thirds root 2 thirds. And we can leave it like that, which means the full coordinates are minus 4 thirds, comma, minus 4 thirds root 2 thirds. So there we go. Okay, I hope that's been a useful look at using the product rule and using it to find coordinates of turning points. We'll be using the product rule a lot for the rest of the course, so hope you've understood it. I'll see you in the next video.